Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. In my last video, I talked about what to look for when you're buying a box blade, and I'll put a link to that video at the end. Today I'm going to show me actually using a box blade. We've got a loafing stall or loafing shed on the side of our barn here where horses stand all the time. And a few years ago, I cleaned all the muck out of that and added a bunch of gravel in there. And that was in, I think, 2016. And over the period of years, we've accumulated some muck holes in there where the water drains into and just sits, and it's hard on horses' feet and hooves. And we're gonna try to cure that today. So what's happened is all the gravel is in a packed in mess, and I don't want to add more gravel to this because there's gravel there. I just want to work up what's there, and I want to move some of it to this area where there's a mucky mess around the stock tank, and I want to build that up a little bit so it drains away. And then I want to kind of slope this away from the stock tank where the ground naturally slopes, and so hopefully the water that accumulates under here will go away from this area. So what I'm going to do today, I've got my box blade hooked up, I've got my canopy off my tractor and my tractor caddy off my tractor. Got the roll bar folded down, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag up the gravel that's already here. A lot of people, when they try to fix a problem like this, will bring a lot more gravel in, but the gravel hasn't washed away, it's just packed in there. And so what we're going to do is work it up to the surface. And if you've got a driveway or any graveled area that has a fair amount of gravel in it, you can do this with a box blade. I had a couple of goals with this project. First one was there was a little hump about 2/3 of the way down that was preventing the water from draining out to the north where the land naturally drops away from this lean-to. I wanted to cut that off, and I really thought I could get enough gravel cutting that off and working this whole thing up to where I could fill in this hole here, and that was my second goal, was to fill in my hole that's kind of muddy. Well, I've been married 35 years. My wife told me you're not going to have enough gravel to do that. And I argued with her, but I have to admit, she was right, I was wrong. I got about 3 wheelbarrow loads of gravel, that's it. That's not enough to fill this area in. I'm going to have to order a load of gravel, but we'll put that in and use it other places as well. But it hurts being wrong, but I was wrong this time. But I did cut that area off down there that was keeping the water from going away from the building, and hopefully this will all drain a little bit better now. And I did dredge up some gravel, and we'll fill that in here where the mud is, and it'll look better when we're done. But a couple of things about running a box blade. First off, you need to keep it level. When I first came in, I had it a little off level because the ground wasn't level. I had to compensate for that. And then as I knocked the ground down and kind of got it level, I changed the angle of the box blade and made it high on the side next to the building and low on the other side, so I could kind of contour the ground away from the building, and that worked out well. The other thing to know about a box blade is your top link has a big impact on how a box blade works. And I'll explain that here real briefly if you're going to use a box blade. If you want the box blade to cut in more, you lengthen the top link. And if you want to spread it, you narrow the top link back. You pull it back in. Now when I started, I had everything about level. This was packed way harder than I thought it was, so I needed to cut in more. So I lengthened my top link, and what that does, that picks the edges of your box blade up so they're not riding on the ground, and lets the cutting edge be the thing that's cutting into the ground. So when you do that, when you drive forward, you're going to cut deeper into the ground, and I noticed that immediately when I lengthened the top link. I got more gravel going forward. Now when you're ready to spread it, if you'll pull your top link back in, what you do then is you change the angle of the box blade. It rides on the front of the sides, and you can have either a little gap or just almost no gap, or a little gap where the cutting edge would normally cut in. And when you do that, you can spread the gravel back and forth and not cut in. So when you're cutting in and you want to cut all the gravel out you can, when you're cutting the crown off your driveway, if start level. If that doesn't work, lengthen that top link, then you'll cut in, and then when you're ready to spread it, pull that top link back in and either make it level or off the ground in the back a little bit so you're not cutting in, and you can drive over it several times and level it out. That's why people buy hydraulic top links. Nice tool if you do a lot of work like this. You do have to have remotes on the tractor in order for a hydraulic top link to work. But if you've got that, you can easily change from the tractor seat the angle of the box blade and make a job like this a lot easier. Well, now, a couple of days after I did this work, you can kind of see what I'm up against here. The horses have tromped it down a little bit. That's still a little bit mucky there and still a little bit low. Here's the problem. If you look out that way, that's to the east. That's a grade going up there, and there's my dog. And the water drains down this hill, and it used to drain into the loafing shed. But now that I've kind of got the ground angled away, and that worked good, it's going to drain, and I worry a little bit about this, down to right about where my fence posts are. I really probably need to build that up a little bit and then cut a trench down through here to let the water drain around to the north where the ground slopes. The problem we've got in this place, I'll just show you, is bedrock right below the soil. And so when you're trying to do anything, if you can dig down a little ways with your box blade, and then when you hit this, your digging is done, and there's a lot of this. And so it's kind of a tricky situation, but I think what I'm going to do, going back to my situation, whoa, there's a horse right there. I think what I'm going to do is build this up right here and put, I think, another load of gravel. I've cut that down enough, just a little bit of gravel on top of that. And we'll get that high enough and slope it down to the center here, past the wood supports from my lean-to, because I don't want the water draining into them because they'll rot off. Not my favorite design there, but I didn't build the barn, but I did get it cut off on the end here where drainage away will be a little bit better. So I'm pleased with what I did. What I had to work with, it's better than it was, but still needs a little bit more work up here around the stock tank. There's a couple of videos you might want to watch. This one shows me putting gravel in this lean-to for the first time, and this one shows how to pick out a box blade so you know you're getting a good one. Finally, here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store. Under Tractor Accessories, you can find premium hydraulic top links for sale in category 1 or 2. Thanks for watching.